How's everybody doing? Well, we're going to get busy now and do number part four, right? Of the moon in Capricorn. Now, I've read some of your comments, and some of you want me to do a part four for the moon in Sag. Not doing another part four for the moon in Sag. Like I mentioned, from Libra to Pisces, it gets more complex. I did part three and I'm doing part four of the moon in Capricorn, but know that of those four parts, I focused the last one, part two, on women, and this one will be the fourth part. The part one and two focuses on men. Not much to say about men concerning the moon in Capricorn, other than the fact that many of the similarities are there as far as the Capricorn moon woman. But with the men, what you have to focus on is the fact that they are more afraid. They're more fear factor based than confidence based. Even though they show you the opposite. Right? It's a pretty morose type of existence that the Capricorn movement has created for himself. Very rigid and quite predictable. And I've kind of mentioned and covered that in part one and two. So I'm going to finish part four, continuing to talk more about women, because I didn't finish telling you what I needed to tell you concerning that. And this is only going to be 15 minutes long to make up for the 7 additional minutes that the other one ran into, because that's what's specified specifically in my contract. Okay? So, without further ado, we are going to go and talk about part four of the Capricorn Moon Woman. Okay. All right. Perfect. Of course, this is an herbal drink, non-alcoholic. But some of the pieces of apricot, natural piece of apricot, I let it sit and infuse in alcohol a few days ago. But there's no alcohol here. So they might have a little tinge, but just a tinge of it. Not a full alcohol. That way I can start drinking more healthily in the morning, where I don't have to do full heavy alcohol. Okay, so in the mornings like this is like a settling down drink, but it's again non-alcoholic. And I have my wasabi, my seaweed. I have to make sure that I don't get debris on my lips or on my teeth, Okay. A woman, the Capricorn woman is strong, but at the same time, she's also very feminine. I didn't get to talk about that in part three. I give a lot of hardcore, roughneck stuff. And now let me go into the more gentler side of the moon in Capricorn. Okay. Um, See, it's a little bit tricky because you think that the Capricorn woman most of the time keeps her cheerful side in control. She basically, for the most part, is always a positive thinker. She's a positive thinker, methodical thinker. And even though I went quite heavy in describing the pains and plights of the Capricorn woman, don't misunderstand me and think that this woman feels sad and melancholy 24/7 all day long. No? Sleep is a good thing for her, for the Capricorn sun sign woman and the Capricorn moon woman. They recharge, they rejuvenate. The heaviness that they feel when they are awake is not the heaviness that they take with them when they go to bed and sleep. They're actually free. It's almost like the soul is detached from the carcass of a body when we sleep. And she feels heavenly. Then it starts all over again the following morning, where she has to get up and put on her cloak of carbon matter, which is our skin, which is heavy and karmic and full of pain, and put up a front every single day to do it all over again and come back home, take her armor out, hang it out, and then go to bed. And now we see another side of the moon in Capricorn when it pertains to a woman's chart. Here we see a more contemplating woman who ponders upon the mysteries of the universe and ponders about many, many powerful truths and traditions. And she goes into a ping pong of questioning, absorbing, analyzing, and then choosing to make a synthesis of her assessments in a way, and this is genius of her, in a way that works for her. She creates a synthesis of her information and of her life and what she's gone through, and even those of others, and creates something from that, from nothing. I mean, I really won't say from nothing. There's a lot. It's almost like doing a gumbo. If you know the gumbo, it's a dish, a New Orleans dish. In Haiti, they also have this too, but it comes from New Orleans. And if you know anything about that stew, gumbo, it has everything in it. Everything in it. It is a meal unto itself. It's a cuisine unto itself. Just like sancocho is for Dominicans, Dominican Republic, we have sancocho. That's our stew. That's our version of gumbo, except that there's no seafood in it. No. So, like I mentioned, that Saturn and its 62 moons can be its own solar system. And the analogy behind that is that it can be self-sustaining. And that's the key word here that you have to understand, that it is self-sustaining, self-preserving. The light of the sun is captured by Saturn's rings, and that reflects the light back onto the other moons. So the rings act as a deflector. So if the sun wasn't there or something blocked the sun, there's enough light rays in the rings of Saturn to illuminate its own luminescence. Yeah, yeah. And that day, it could be its own system. So too can the Capricorn moon woman be her own system, her own unit, her own country, her own, solar system. This is why everyone comes to her, why everyone depends on her, why everyone relies on her. She seems to have all the answers of God, of life and death, and your own particular situation, whether it's at work, or whether it's with your marriage, or whether it's raising your children, or whether it's choosing a career. Ask her, she'll have the answer. And over time, she becomes a pillar in her own family, which extends to being a pillar into her neighborhood, into her community. Remember, it's cardinal. So her influence, it will be spread out all throughout the land to all four cardinal points on the earth. This woman can be a writer, a reformer, or a simple actress. But regardless what she is or what she decides that she wants to project to you, for you to perceive her as who she is, which could be real, could not be real. It all depends on the inner motivations of this woman. One really doesn't know and really doesn't understand what shapes her motives and how she carries out her objectives. But we do know that one avenue and one modality is through ruthlessness. But that's only one way, and only if absolutely necessary. Only if absolutely necessary. Understand that this is correct, that she has to survive, and she sees life as an arduous road full of mines and explosives and snipers hanging out from different corners. It's almost like an obstacle course when you're in the military and you have to get through A to Z, but there's an obstacle course in between. This is analogous of the Capricorn moon woman. Her life, she already sees a trajectory that is going to be kind of like painful and arduous, hard. No. But in spite of that, and in the midst of it, she does manage to be slightly, oh, not slightly, she does manage to be optimistic. It's not like she's going to wear her pain on her sleeves for everybody to see. No. One thing that I want you to understand, and this just doesn't apply to the Capricorn moon woman, it also applies to all women. And I'm going to tell you what this is. But first, I got to take a sip. It's tea, no spirits. Okay, understand that with this combination, this woman is bound to reach success sooner or later. But she can also be patient to the point where she can go another direction and then, like a shark, come back and conquer that which she was trying to obtain. She can be visceral, you know. She's so in control of that cheerful side of her that this is what gets people confused, you know. And they think that she is always serious. She's not always sad. She could be just as happy and as contempt uh, as you and I. But the demeanor in which she comes across is so serious, so Saturnian, that it makes people uncomfortable. It makes people standoffish. They don't know what she's feeling or what she's processing when she is in front of you. Okay? And she very well may be processing stuff about you right there in your presence. But because of the same reason, okay? Because of the same reason, many people feel that she's unfeeling and mean. I gotta tell you, I know many Capricorn moon women, and it takes me quite some doing to figure out that these women are not showing the emotion that we are looking at. We don't know if it's a facade or it's just that that's just the personality of the woman that we're personally looking at. Now, it manifests so differently and in such variety of ways that it's really hard to lump it all into one. But I'm trying to make an attempt here. Okay. Um. Well, of course, if she does get angry, she is not going to. She's not going to allow herself to refrain from tearing you a new one. She will tear you a new one and destroy you in one swift brush. That's what makes her so dangerous and difficult for people to kind of like con or fool. This is not a woman that can fall easily to a con game. Whether other people like it or not, you know, she she only says what she thinks, and what she thinks usually has a good dose of reality. Okay, um, with the moon in Capricorn, you know, she has to. It's not like it's a choice. She has to connect with the high rollers, with the high status, because it is here where she finds a sense of continuity, that something is heading towards a better horizon than where she's at now. Otherwise, she's going to feel stagnant. There has to be an engine wheel that will provide her an avenue for her to move forward in her objectives. Now, this woman, I mean, for the most part, she's not really very romantic. But then again, that in itself is a misnomer because she is quite a romantic person, but not in the context that you and I considered romance. It's not the same like Leo. Like Leo rules romance. It is a sign of romance. But understand that romance is kind of relative depending on who is the one doing the romancing and who's being romanced. So we cannot even blame her for not showing romantic interludes. We think she's not showing you romantic interludes. But in her mind, she probably is. But it's a different, with the Capricorn energy, it's so, oh, I can't explain it. As an astrologer, I can't explain it. You know, it's the devil. It's the countenance of the Capricorn energy that doesn't allow for much expository warmth. I have to coin a phrase. I call it expository warmth. That doesn't mean that she's not warm. It's just not expository. Am I making sense? I hope so. Let me know either way if I'm making sense with this. But understand, because like the planets, Saturn and its moons, I told you it's like its own solar system. Saturn and its moon, her children, could care less if the sun is there or not. Don't worry, we got this. It's okay, Sunday. We see you well in the distance there in space, but we're good, my nigga. We're good. So, to the rest of the planets that are watching, like, what the fuck is wrong with this dude? How come he ain't homaging the sun like the rest of us are? Oh, look, well, he might have his own thing going on there. He's all right. He don't need us. So there's a level of self-sustainment and self-confidence and self-consistency that is unmatched by any other placing of the moon, for the exception of the moon in Aries. Okay? She, like I mentioned in my videos of the Capricorn moon woman, how to understand a Capricorn woman, or how to get a Capricorn woman. You have to understand that relationships are important, but she's very simple in what she wants. She wants to be independent. She requires men to be disciplined and having a good job and having interest in commitment in building a foundation. The Capricorn moon woman is not going to get with you if you're not about building a foundation. Remember, the opposite polarity of Capricorn is Cancer. And Cancer is a sign that rules foundation. A family, business, idea, anything. So she has to see these ethics in the men that she's courting. Because if she doesn't, she ain't even going to look your way. What's up? She ain't looking your way. Why? What is there to invest in? If you don't invest in yourself, she ain't going to feel confident that you're going to invest in her or in the relationship as a unit, as a whole, if she don't see an investment within you as a person. And that is also relative, because that can mean anything depending on who's doing the observing and the assessing. But the Capricorn woman, to her, we can set our templates on her criteria, because all she got is 3 basic criteria concerning romance and the opposite sex. And I just mentioned them. Right? Without this, you're not going to get very far with her. And look, I did 20 minutes. I was gonna do 15 minutes. So we are done with this combination.